All right, let's chop on this gnarly knot here on this dead standing pine. And as you can hear, the back end that is approaching petrification, if that's a word. All right. Yeah, that is definitely hard. All right. Yep, that blade is still very tight. Hasn't loosened at all in that wood. And the guard, this rubberized plasticky guard, is also in very good shape. It's fairly tough. So if you were going to use this as a fighting knife, yeah, I think that's definitely a good guard. Let's see, now that I've beaten it up a little bit, let's see what it does to the paper. Yeah, it's still fairly sharp. It's a couple of little, could be wood poop that's on there, but it is still, I think 3CR13 MOV, if that's what this is kind of underrated. Remember the chromium, if it's got 13% chromium, not only does it give it stain resistance, but chromium is a carbide former. It does have something to do with edge retention and the hardness of the blade, so that's not necessarily a bad thing. So yeah, I think this knife is standing up for what I would do with it for sure. All right, guys, so this is the Dispatch tactical survival combat knife, which is what they call it. And remember, what I want to find out is how is this lightweight knife going to hold up. Remember, this is very light, 7.3 ounces. Yeah, I understand it's made to look like a Rambo knife, a M9 bayonet knife, but that's not what this knife is, as I said. Okay, so I just want to see the tang with my magnet only comes in somewhere around this point to this second groove here. Okay, so this rubberized handle is molded over the knife blade. Remember, very thin knife blade, but still, for what I would use this knife for, I want to know that this knife is going to hold up for its build and is going to be able to do those tasks, which isn't really a heavy duty combat or survival knife. But let's see what this knife can do. I'm going to throw the sheath down there. Let's go down to my workspace. And remember, there's such a thing called physics and leverage. This is a thin blade, okay, which I believe to be 3CR13 MOV stainless steel, which is fine. But yeah, the knife is over 12 inches long, so with that leverage, can I snap this knife, bend the tip? Yeah, you're going to do that. But like I said, that's not what I would use this knife for. But we want to make sure it's going to hold up somewhat. So let's do a little bit of tip stuff here. And again, you're just not going to be able to go very crazy with this tip, but you do want to know that it's not going to break and that it's not going to bend too easily. Could I jam this in there and bend it or snap it? I sure could, very easily. It's just a physics thing. It's this thing called leverage, okay? This is not a 1/4 inch thick knife to where you're going to do those things with it, but I do want to make sure that that tip is gonna hold out and not bend or break so easily, okay? And so far, so good, okay? I don't know if you can see it, but yes, if I stick this tip in there, I can bend it or break it easily, but that's not what I would use this knife for. All right, now let me do a little chopping, not because this is a chopper, it isn't, but I just want to make sure that this tang is going to stay inside this handle and not loosen up. So I want to put some use to it, some wear on it, see what happens. Okay. Now with this, remember I told you about this pommel area here. That gives you really a good grip, and it is comfortable feeling, but I can put my pinky behind there, get a little bit more swing going, and at first blush and chopping with this, kind of like it. Not a heavy chopper, not a big chopper. I really wouldn't use it for normal chopping tasks, but it is a sharp knife. No, forgot to do that. Let's just show you. Their knives, the dispatch knives that I have, they have come sharp. So let's just give this a quick, yeah. Go this way, a little bit easier. So yeah, this is a sharpened knife. Back to the chopping. So if I can do some moderate tasks like this, and this blade stays in and doesn't come loose from the handle, from the molded handle, that's a good thing. Actually, it does chop pretty well. It's not bad for such a lightweight knife. This is this was a dead standing aspen that I'm chopping on, so yeah. All right, yep, there's no looseness there at all. Just do some more because I want to make sure that this blade is not going to come loose. And again, this is not the primary task. Whatever dispatch knives have advertised this knife to do, you got to be a little smart, okay? This is a lightweight knife. This is not a combat knife. Could you survive with it like any knife? Sure, you could do some survival tests with it. You could clean game, you could cut things, you could take care of your kindling and stuff like that. You could survive with it, but it would not be one that I would choose to be my primary survival knife. Yeah, that is perfectly tight, not budging at all. we're going to do some batoning, but let me remember that saw back there, and whatever you think about that, it's not a primary saw. It's more of, you know, for notching and maybe for, like I said, when you dispatch your animal with it, you know, that'll do some damage, and that's what you want it to do. So let's so because of the shape of the blade and where the saw edge is, the saw back is, you're not gonna do a lot of sawing with this. Notching, yeah. Small branches, maybe. Yeah, it'll destroy some wood. And this sawback, it does have there is definitely, you know, some sharpness. It's catching my finger there. There is some sharpness to it. So, you know, for notching and general stuff like that, maybe sawing through a bone or something like that, sure, no problem with that. There is a little shock coming through the handle of my hand. It's not bad, but there is a little shock going on there. Remember, not the primary use of this knife. Just want to make sure the blade does not loosen from the handle. But to be honest with you, it can do a little chopping. Pretty cool, yeah. All right, the knife is still perfectly straight. It is not loose at all. Okay, so let's go to the baton. All right, guys, let's do some batoning with this knife, see what happens. We'll start with something small. Don't want to go too crazy here. This is tall, but it's not a heavy piece of wood. Yep, no problems there. Let's go something a little thicker. It's a nice thick piece of aspen. See what happens here. All right. Yep, that is still perfectly solid in that handle. Not seeing any problems with the handle or the steel. All right, let's go for a bigger piece. Let me see. What do we want to do here? Let's go for another good-sized piece of aspen. See what happens. Oh yeah. Yeah. No problems. No problems at all.